Hello, this is Kinninigan from RagingReptilian.com. Multiple foreign TV news broadcasts declare the New World Order has come into force. Let me just get this out of the way and play. Australian news has been declaring, with the help of the New World Order, that the help with the lockdown going on. Now, there's some good news to this and some bad news. One, I'm going to be offending pagans in this video because a lot of pagans don't even know who they're aligned or loyal to. Secondly, I'm going to tell people what the New World Order is. A lot of people throw the word around. They don't know. And what I mean about insulting pagans, I'm just going to put this out there. If you're a Freemason and you don't acknowledge the fact that you are actually a Talmudic Jew, then you are lost. You don't even know where your own loyalties lie. If you are a Satanist who denies the fact that Jesus Christ ever existed, you are lost. Because in the Babylonian Talmud, there is a whole entire chapter about Jesus and them knowing he was the Son of God, and them setting up the crucifixion so that people blame the Jews and the Romans for it. The 72 Pharisees that came out of Babylon are the reptilian shapeshifters. How many people have seen movies where, someone will go out of their way to go help bad guys because they think they're going to get some kind of money or special reward for helping the bad guys out, only to find out that rather than getting paid or any type of acknowledgement for it, they just turn around and get a bullet in the head for just being a useful idiot. Well, that's kind of the way I feel about pagans, Satanists, black magicians, occultists, because they're really the most lost out of everyone. Christianity is pretty straightforward. They worship Jesus. They know he was the Messiah. And the Babylonian Talmud and the Pharisees knew that he was the Messiah. So when I see Satanists going around going, oh, Jesus is a bunch of bullshit, right? Let me remind you of something. The founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey, begged for redemption from Christ on his deathbed. Do you really think that the reptilian shapeshifters who run Babylon are going to give you some type of special acknowledgement when the New World Order really does come? Or are they going to look at you as a useless human who betrayed your own race to engage in paganism and serpent worship? And you think that... Now, I got some good news for this. I don't believe we are going into the New World Order, because in order to have the New World Order, we need a manifestation of the AntiChrist. In Hebrew, that is Mashiach. Yeah, linguistics. Can you speak Hebrew? A little bit. Yeah, but Mashiach is the Messiah. He is the one that will sit on the temple in Jerusalem and betray the Jews and kill them. What's amazing about Jewish prophecy is they know this. They know the Messiah is going to be the false prophet, otherwise known as the Antichrist, who will sit on the temple and kill the Jews. This is what I mean about pagans being useless idiots. Do you think that... And I'll tell you what the New World Order is. It's a Sumerian tablet called Enki in the World Order, where Ishtar is created, which is why I'm doing this video today. In case you did not know, Easter is a play on the word Ishtar. Ishtar, in the spring equinox in Babylon, would hatch out of an egg on the Euphrates River because she is the fertility goddess. She was also the one put to rule over hell, and that's another Sumerian tablet, Ishtar's descent into the underworld. I don't believe we're coming into the New World Order, because if you know anything about biblical prophecy, this is all man-made human garbage we're seeing right now. In fact, deep down inside, I actually think that a lot of the current Freemason, the pagans, the occultists, the Satanists, what you're doing, you're probably going to piss the Antichrist off. It's like throwing a birthday party for someone and it's not their birthday, but you want to, no. The battle between the Antichrist and the second coming of Jesus is not something, one, any human wants to be around for. Okay. Two, if you don't realize that the atheistic movements and all this anti-Christianity stuff has been Because at the highest levels, like I said, if you're a Freemason, if you're a pagan, and you don't acknowledge the fact that you are actually a Talmudic Jew, and you know why they banned the documentary on Babylonian Talmud on my channel? Not only did they take credit for crucifying the Son of God, Jesus, that video is on my channel. You know why? Because YouTube wouldn't let me put the whole documentary, but I took this 2-minute clip out of the documentary, what Babylon really thinks about Jesus, and this is right from Talmud, where they take credit for the crucifixion of Jesus Christ for being the false Messiah, stating that all Christians must die, and that Christianity was more of a threat to their way of living, even that more of the pagans. Today is Saturday. Today is the day. Yesterday would have been the day that Jesus was crucified. There's a reason why I uploaded that video when I was out at Area 51 about the Joshua tree. I don't know if anyone knew this, but Joshua is supposedly one of the correct translations of the real name of Jesus. The other one is supposedly Emmanuel. We could debate all day about the correct name of Jesus, but the current way that Jesus is spelled, G-E-S-U-S, is a play on the Greek god Zeus. Okay, I know that. You're talking about pagans who hijack Christianity, hence Rome, Roman Catholics, and the Vatican. Today is supposedly the day after the crucifixion. This is the second day that Jesus was dead, where he actually goes into hell and redeems the souls of the people condemned into hell, where he redeemed them. Tomorrow will be the day that Jesus arises, the third day of the crucifixion, which is tomorrow, which is Easter, another pagan-infused holy holiday, because like I said, Easter is based on Ishtar. Just like Christmas is based on the cult of Mithra coming from Rome. I know this. But at the end of the day, what really surprises me is people throwing around the word New World Order, and I don't think you really know what that is. Like I said, I think that in the eyes of the actual reptilian overlords that rule Babylon, you pagans are going to be looked at as nothing but useless idiots who betrayed your own human race to engage in serpent worship. And what's amazing, if you are an occultist, if you are a pagan, and you do not acknowledge the fact that reptilians are real, or that you are worshiping reptilians, you really are lost. Christians, it's pretty straightforward. Actually, any religious pantheon, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Muslim, because I know that every Muslim isn't a terrorist, and whether you believe in Allah or God, but as long as you're living a ethical life, you have nothing to worry about. I actually believe when the Antichrist comes, it's going to be the pagans are going to actually be the ones shitting their pants. They're going to be just like Anton LaVey on his deathbed, begging for redemption. Because do you really think that the reptilians from Babylon, the Illuminati, give a shit if you're a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan? Or they're just going to look at you like you're a useless idiot who sold out your own human civilization so you can worship us, so you can practice black magic. But at the end of the day, you need to realize that the Pharisees, the 72 Pharisees who wrote Talmud, knew that Jesus was the Son of God. Why do you think they dedicated a whole chapter in the Talmud to him and take credit for his crucifixion if he wasn't the Son of God? Okay? So why am I talking about this? Well, Australian news. We got video of this. Let me play these two videos here. Australian news. Right, I have two video clips here are stating the New World Order has come into force. Except I really don't believe this is the New World Order. Because if the New World Order needs to be engineered by humans, it's not the real biblical prophecy. It's a man-made one. At the end of the day, I actually think by engineering a man-made New World Order, you're going to piss off the Antichrist. Because, like I said, it's supposed to be the ushering in of the Antichrist. But I don't believe the Antichrist is manifested yet. And just as a reminder, the Antichrist will be charming. He will deceive not only the Jews, he will deceive the entire human civilization. There's also theories that the Antichrist will be a reptilian shape-shifting transgender. Now, I've touched on that before about making a world more conducive for the Antichrist, why they were pushing the trans agenda, why we have attacks on Christianity right now. Tomorrow is supposed to be the most religious day in the Christian pantheon, and you're being told you can't go to church. Wow. Really? But the beer distributor will be open tomorrow. Oh, well, you know how many other businesses are going to be open in a lot of cities tomorrow? But you can't go to church, though. Well, there are pastors out there saying that you could take this stay-at-home order and shove it, because we are going to hold Mass tomorrow for Jesus. A lot of pagans out there are more lost than Christians are, because you don't even know what you're engaged in. If you are a pagan, if you are a Freemason, a Satanist, and you want to, one, deny the fact that Jesus was real, and two, not acknowledge the fact that you are worshiping reptilians, you are lost. Because I believe when the New World Order and the Antichrist comes, you'll be looked at as nothing more than a useless idiot who betrayed your own humankind to engage in the worship and black magic. So, yeah. Sky News from Australia announces the New World Order. You gotta hear this to believe it. Hold on.
And also the New World Order that will come into force at 12.
You heard it.
Also the New World Order that will come into force at 12 p.m. That's midnight tonight. New restrictions on various businesses, David S.
But it's not just one news station that said it. Now this was uploaded.
You listening now? She's about to say it on national TV.
At 7 on 7.
The nation's death toll climbs to 14, with more than 1,600 now infected across the state and rising. This is a special edition of 7 News, bringing you the latest on the coronavirus crisis. Here's what's coming up. The New World Order, our army comes marching in. Here's what's coming up. The New World Order, our army comes marching in, partnering with police to help enforce the country's tough new quarantine laws. Plus, Hotel Hell,
Now, Hotel Hell followed right after the announcement of the New World Order. Let me remind people what the New World Order actually is, okay? Because not a lot of people throwing the word around know. It comes from this, a Sumerian tablet called Enki, who was one of the Ajiji gods and the World Order. In this tablet, Enki creates Ishtar to rule over hell. And who is Ishtar? She's a reptilian. Yeah. This is Anana. This is what the Statue of Liberty is based on, because America is the new Babylon. Now, why don't I believe that this is actually the real New World Order? Because biblical prophecy, the plagues would be real, okay? There's too much BS going around with this whole virus thing, and people are catching it. We had CBS News yesterday was showing off a site in Hart Island, which has been used as a mass grave since the 1800s. And they showed it on a news broadcast and said, oh, mass graves are being dug in New York. Like I said, you've got the mainstream media pumping out fake news right now. The only reason I can see that they're doing that, they want to crash the economy, make everything go to shit, and then they can blame Donald Trump. Just so they can get the real pay. Do you want Hillary Clinton as your president? Because I'm sure that she would make an environment very conducive for the Antichrist. She would have no problem doing it. Let me tell you the other thing, too. If you're a pagan and you don't acknowledge that you are actually following Babylonian Talmud, or you don't know what it is, because Freemason, it's based on Jewish mysticism. Oh yeah, they also claim credit of using black magic to condemn Jesus, of all things. I'll put this link in the description. I don't want to play this video today, because this is supposed to be a holy weekend. And I know what's in Talmud. I know what the New World Order is. I really think that a lot of you Satanists and pagans and people who denounce Christ, I'm not saying you have to be a Christian, But if you're going to deny the fact that pagans and Satanists are actually engaging in reptilian serpent worship, and you don't acknowledge the fact that you are actually a Talmudic Jew, because it is Albert Pike and the 3 world wars that were predicted in his infamous letter stating that the whole goal of the 3 world wars was to start Armageddon, where they will usher in the entire planet under the full doctrine of Lucifer. Hence comes the Antichrist. But I don't really think that's what's happening right now. I don't think we're coming into Armageddon. Okay? And take the censorship on YouTube. If this really was Armageddon coming in, and the New World Order, and the arrival of the Antichrist, and the second coming of Jesus, oh no, we can't talk about that because YouTube has banned all speech about it. Yeah, please. Listen, Jesus and the Antichrist don't give a shit about borders, they don't give a shit about Google, and they don't give a shit about YouTube or social media. Just stating. Secondly, if we are coming into end times, I doubt the internet would even be working. So you're not going to be able to make YouTube videos or go on Facebook and talk about, you're not going to have to worry about censorship. Let's put it that way. So, why am I bringing this up? We have known throughout modern times, hotel hell, right after the announcement of the New World Order. This started in Australia, where they are throwing around the term New World Order in the media. How soon is it going to be until we hear the useless puppets in American media echoing the same thing? It's probably not going to be too long. And I want to see how things play out tomorrow, because being the holiest day of the Christian pantheon, Easter, they want you to shelter in place. Easter, for me, I know it is a Christian holiday, but it's always been more for children. Dying Easter eggs and children waking up with baskets of candy and all that stuff. You got to sometimes put down the pagan roots of holidays and actually learn that we celebrate holidays as to show love for our friends and family. 2, I'm just going to put it out there. A lot of pagans are lost. A lot of them do it because they're antisocial. 2, the main reason people practice black magic is for money, sex, and power, which is how demons tempt people away from Christ, okay? If you don't know this, the biggest believers in Jesus are the actual people who wrote the Talmud, because they knew when they crucified him what they were doing, and they wanted to put an end to Christianity. Unfortunately, Jesus knew this was going to happen. Jesus also put out the quote too that there is no reward in hating your enemies. Meaning, today, Saturday, today, is the day that supposedly after he is crucified, he goes into hell and redeems a lot of the souls condemned to hell. He also redeemed the people and the Romans who actually crucified him. And I had made a video about this before, because a lot of people, let me just put this out there. Kinninigan is Catholic, okay? I heard another YouTube channel calling me Gnostic. Okay, I don't know where they got that shit from. I was born Irish Catholic. Is it that hard to, okay? Secondly, I've already made a few videos about Jesus and the book of Nazarene. Nazarene, the order of the Nazarene, is supposedly after Jesus was crucified and he arose. One, he redeemed and the Romans who actually crucified him and flailed him. The Nazarene was supposedly, the book of Nazarene, are the real teachings of Jesus Christ after he arises from the resurrection. The real teachings. Because unfortunately, if you read the Bible, how many quotes in the Bible are actually said by Jesus Christ himself? Not a lot. In fact, the entire New Testament is just a book of prophets. Right? The book of Nazarene was supposedly the real teachings of Jesus that would have been detrimental to Roman Catholicism and the Vatican. You know what? Maybe I should make a video about that tomorrow on Easter. So where did Jesus go after he arises from the resurrection? Well, there might be some pretty damn good proof that he went to the ancient land of Punt, known as modern-day Ethiopia. And if you don't know about this, Ethiopia has very, very strong Christian ties. In fact, there are rock churches in Ethiopia that cannot be explained. They look nothing like the cathedrals built by the Vatican. And supposedly, it's been rumored, although it's very difficult, like I said, some people believe the real translation of the name Jesus was Joshua, some believe it was Emmanuel. But supposedly, after Jesus Christ does resurrect, there's been rumors floating around. It's very difficult to find on the internet, but supposedly there is a grave in Ethiopia protected by monks that is called Emmanuel of Egypt. And it is believed that is actually where Jesus Christ was buried after he resurrected, lived out the rest of his human life. But when we have Australian news talking about the ushering in of the New World Order, I don't think they even know what it is. I don't even think half of pagans and Satanists really know what it is. Like I said, how many movies or TV shows have you seen where some useless idiot helps out the bad guys only to get a bullet in the head afterwards for just selling out your own kind to help out evil, and you thought you were going to get some reward for it? Because that's kind of how I think the Anunnaki and the Ajiji gods would look at you as a human. You think they give a shit that you became a Freemason or you're a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan? Or are they just going to look at you as some useless human who sold out your own kind to engage in serpent worship? Yeah, think about that one. Because I really think that it is the path that a lot of pagans have taken in life. And when I use the term pagan, I'm using the Roman term. That is someone who engages in sacrifices to the gods and goddesses. Oh, but I don't engage in ritual sacrifice. Well, you're not pagan and right. That's all I'm saying. I think a lot of people that get influenced over to places like the Church of Satan, become Freemason, they're looking for some kind of power or esoteric knowledge or so. No. Like I said, once you become a Freemason, you are pretty much a Babylonian following Talmudic Jew. But I don't think this is the New World Order coming, because a lot of the bullshit going on around the world looks man-made, and that would not happen in the real end times, okay? They're not going to have to engineer some imaginary virus. They're not going to they're not going to use chemtrails and HARP technology to create false weather patterns or something like that. No, the real end times is not something that could be man-made. So no, I don't think this is the New World Order coming. I'll put all these links in the description. This is where the idea of the World Order comes from. It's Enki, creating Ishtar to rule over hell. Yeah, and I don't know if you knew this. Lucifer, according to the Sumerian pantheon, is a feminine energy, hence the planet Venus. Inanna is also the moon goddess. This is where, now, for example, women, their menstrual cycles work on moon cycles. This is all tied together, and it ties in with something called starfire blood. I'm not going to go into starfire blood. It's something that's harvested and reptilians like. I hear a lot of people throwing around the word adrenochrome right now. Nobody knew what adrenochrome was until me and other researchers started exposing. It ties in the reptilian blood drinking. Okay? Adrenochrome is not something you go to some lab. I don't care. There could be, yeah. Is there a lab out there making something they're calling adrenochrome? Yeah, sure. But it's not the real thing. The adrenochrome I'm talking about is harvested in ritual sacrifice and blood drinking. There's also something called starfire blood that the reptilians desire. And you know what? If you follow Aleister Crowley, there's a lecture on my YouTube channel about what Crowley was engaged in. And starfire blood is fermented menstrual blood. And that is based on women's menstrual cycles are based on moon cycles. This is where the feminine energy of Lucifer and blood drinking comes in. This is probably where the Greeks got the inspiration of their mythology of Pandora's box, about the woman opening the box and unleashing all evil upon earth. A lot of these ancient mythologies are tied together, and they are all rooted back to Babylon. So, like I said, if you're a pagan, if you're a Satanist, and you're not acknowledging the fact that you're actually a Babylonian Talmudic Jew, some of the reasons why I'm not allowed to post that full documentary about Babylonian Talmud on my YouTube channel, because it also, for one, endorses pedophilia with children up to 3 years of age, since they will not remember the experience. Wow. Yeah, that's right, in Babylon. Oh, as long as the child is a goyim, though. You have no idea what is actually in Talmud. So, is the New World Order coming? No, I don't think so. But Australian news seems to think so. And you look, I'm going to play this again. You can't make this shit up.
So, the New World Order that will come into force at 12...
Maybe they thought because an Australian said it was going to be cool. I like Australian accents, right? The New World Order. Why don't you just say what it really means? The Antichrist has arrived. But you know what? I don't think the Antichrist is here right now. I don't think that we're going to see some charming, unless, you know, maybe if the pandemic was real and you had someone rise up with a magical vaccine that could cure everyone on Earth. That's more along the lines in prophecy of what the Antichrist will do. No, and guess what? I don't think Bill Gates is the Antichrist. Sorry. The Antichrist is supposed to be someone who's charming, quite possibly a transgender, and most likely a reptilian shapeshifter. He will be known as the Jews as Mashiach, or the Messiah, but he is the false Messiah. He will sit upon the temple in Jerusalem and kill most of the Jews. And what's amazing is Jews know this is going to happen in prophecy, but they still try to fulfill it. I wonder if there's some guilt going with the whole Jewish race themselves about the Babylonian Talmud and the crucifixion of Jesus. And I wonder if that guilt has been riding on them for thousands of years. Anyway, that's my little morning speech about the New World Order. Remember, this is a holy weekend. And regardless of all this BS we're being bombarded for in the mainstream media, they will achieve one thing tomorrow. And that is not having Christians gather to worship their Lord tomorrow. There are pastors out there, and we'll see how this plays out tomorrow, that are threatening. We don't give a shit what you say. We're holding mass tomorrow. And I believe there already was a pastor that was arrested in the United States for holding mass during lockdowns. Really? I wonder if those police officers who arrested the pastor, I wonder what they would say if Jesus did come back. Would they be on their knees begging for forgiveness? Huh? Because a bunch of Luciferian masters that you worship, and you know what? Most police officers don't even know what the eagle on their badge means. It means you're under Roman jurisdiction. Yeah, getting back to Rome ruling the world. That is true. Yeah. So go ahead and lock down away while Rome burns. Yeah. Deny Easter to all Christians around the world because we gotta self-quarantine and stay locked in our houses. It's becoming so pathetic outside. I went to the store yesterday. I saw a guy with a towel wrapped around his head. A towel. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how much you know about viruses, but a towel is not going to stop a virus. There's a reason why they were saying you need specifically an N95 mask, which you can't even buy now. Now we have Democratic leaders saying that they want to fine people $1,000 for being outside without a mask. Unfortunately, though, I think a lot of the real masks that do prevent the virus, you can't get them. Or are they just trying to extort your $1,200 bailout check on you? Yeah, this is insanity. And remember, all these Luciferian assholes who are doing this are going to be the ones begging for forgiveness if Jesus was to return. Because they're going to be stuck in the middle. The reptilians that you think you're appeasing don't give two shits about you. They're just going to look at you as some pathetic human who sold out your own race to engage in anti-Christian values, paganism, and serpent worship. Like I said, you think you're going to get some kind of special favors from the AntiChrist and Enki and the Ajiji gods because you're a Freemason or a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan? No. They're going to look at you and laugh. And said, you sold out your own human civilization to worship us, and yeah. You want to do something good for the reptilians, they'll probably make you a human sacrifice and drink your blood. Is that your goal in life when you decide to become a pagan? Is to be a ritual sacrifice for the reptilian gods so they can harvest your adrenochrome? Hey, if that's the path you want to take in life. But let me tell you something, Anton LaVey, the Babylonian Talmud, they knew Jesus was real. So, like I said, if you're a Satanist out there denying the fact that Jesus is real, you're really lost. Because guess what? The reptilians ain't going to give a shit about you. The only one that might redeem you is Jesus, because that's what he's known for. In antiquity, today is the day that Jesus went into hell and redeemed the sins of the damned. But remember, when he did that in ancient times, paganism was all around the planet. So redeeming those souls, they were probably just lost humans who had no other, from Samaria, who were engaging in reptilian worship and ritual sacrifice. They didn't know any better. Now, I'm going to throw this out there too. One of the biggest pagan pantheons, the Vikings, I don't know how much you knew about this, but England and the Vikings have a long history. So does the Catholic Church. I don't know how many people knew this, but a lot of Vikings converted to Christianity when they started going to England to do their raids, because they found more spirituality in the church and Catholic teachings than they did from their own Viking pantheon. And yes, a lot of Vikings converted to Christianity, including, and this was touched on the TV show that I watched, Vikings, Ragnar Lothbrok himself. Yeah, who'd have thought that a lot of Vikings would have converted to Christianity and stopped their pagan ways. Take that for what it is. I'll put all these links in the description. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Until we speak again, God bless and take care.